Hi, I'm Chance.
And I'm Sarah Catherine.
And this is Conservation Connection.
Presented by Last Chance Endeavors.
We run a wildlife education nonprofit focused on connecting students to their environment.
Each week here on Conservation Connection, we do just that by introducing you to the groundbreaking science and conservation work that's happening every day around the country.
We talk to professionals in the world of conservation science and wildlife management and ask them about their career,
their current projects,
their wild and crazy stories from the field,
and everything in between.
Join us each week to discover just how these dedicated people are working to protect our planet. Welcome to another episode of Conservation Connection. I am so excited. We're here at the Park to Planet weekend here at SeaWorld San Antonio, and we're sitting across the table from Daniel Morrow and Sarah Thompson, who are two aquatic science teachers in the Northside Independent School District, and they're doing some pretty amazing things with their students out in the field.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you guys here. It's great that you just came and found us and we could make this happen.
We are definitely, we love all things environmental related and know what you guys do. And so we figured we'd come and say hi.
Yeah.
Well, we're so glad you're here. So you guys teach aquatic science, which when I was in school, I don't think that I had the option to take aquatic science. So I'm really glad to see that that's a kind of a quickly growing elective option here in the San Antonio area and hopefully around the country. But the really cool thing is the way that you guys teach aquatic science, right? You're not reading out of a book. You're getting students out into aquatic systems. So can you tell me a little bit about some of the ways that you get students outside?
Well, every year we take some of our students down to Port Aransas, Texas, and allow them to kind of experience, aquatic in nature, because a lot of times we have fish tanks in our room, but that doesn't really do teaching aquatic science justice. So our kids are able to go out on the Katy research boat and see specimens that have been collected right from the bay. A lot of them have been to the coast maybe once or twice, but now this is giving them a real hands-on. They've never seen a squid in person. They've never seen we've pulled up a sea turtle. We've pulled up stingrays. And I mean, just them getting to experience that is something that is worth every minute of planning and work and all the other things that go into teaching.
And it's that experience, that's what it boils down to, is that nothing is going to hook somebody or get them to care about something like seeing it firsthand, coming from like the grandeur of nature, pulling it up out of the water and getting to say, this is what we've been talking about. Now get up close and learn about it.
From a teacher's point of view, or like our side of it, it's very stressful getting it ready. It takes months of planning and everything to get all of it sorted out. But once we get on that trip, it's amazing seeing these kids experiencing nature, experiencing science. My very first year going, I was a brand new teacher. I had only been with this class for 2 months, and I had a kid that was hanging on me as he saw a dolphin for the first time and was just absolutely losing it. And at that moment, I was like, you know what? I could do this trip every weekend and be happy.
Yeah.
And the work would be worth it.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. So could you give us an overview of how long this aquatic science program has been around and how it's grown since you started it?
I'm not sure how long it's been around, but we've kind of been in charge of it for the last 4 years together.
Yeah, 4 years together.
And we've doubled the size of the aquatic science program at our campus in those 4 years. And part of it is because kids that leave our classroom, they know that one of the things that they keep saying, and because we have writing things for them to do, and they write about the fact that we are so passionate about what we teach because we really believe that they are going out, they're the ones that are going to go out, and they're the ones that are going to go out and make a difference. And I think that passion shows through in the fact that we take them out to have these experiences, and we really do impress upon them that, they can be difference makers. They can care, they can make a difference, they can do things. Because a lot of them think, oh, I'm just a student. What can I do? And we show them ways. And Daniel he's always led the charge with our trash pickup on the coast. And he'd probably be better equipped to talk about getting the kids involved that way.
Yeah, tell me about this trash pickup.
So when we go down to Port A to the University of Texas Marine Science Institute, on the research vessel, they can only hold 20 students. And so there's 40 of us. So we take 2 different trips. And while we're doing that, like while one group is on the boat, the other group is on shore, I just give them a trash bag and tell them to go pick up some stuff. And pretty soon, I give a trash bag to 3 students and they start picking up things. And then all of a sudden 3 other students come up and say, hey, can we get a trash bag? And they're just walking around. And this past year, I think we only walked 200, 300 yards and filled up 5 trash bags worth of stuff. And the kids were just like, I cannot believe how much there is in just this little area. And they were picking up the big things. And so I sat down at one point and there's just this little patch of ground, like probably 6 inches by 6 inches. And I just started picking up all the little microplastics and I held it in my hand and the kids were like, wow. And it's amazing because they go back and they tell everyone else, like, you don't even know, like all of this trash that we brought is just a very small portion of it.
Right. And you can talk about microplastics and their effects till you're blue in the face, but until you go to a beach and pick all the little microplastics out of one tiny area and hold it up and say, look at what effect we're having. It's real, it's measurable, it's demonstrable, and that's huge. I mean, I can think back personally to teachers who had the kind of passions that you guys have and were able to demonstrate things and show things, and those are the parts that stick with you. I'm 26 now, and I can remember things from like my 3rd grade classroom that really, really made a huge impact on me. So the fact that you guys are like, we're just going to get these students out here and make this happen, that's incredible.
And by letting the students see that, hopefully they'll go back and tell their friends who maybe aren't in this aquatic science program and be like, hey, you should pick up trash, or even better, don't litter, like dispose of it properly, recycle it, that kind of stuff.
I had a kid just this yesterday, Friday, as they were walking out. I always tell my kids, be a better human, because as humans, the majority of us were pretty bad about taking care of the earth. And so every day when they leave, I say, be a better human. And I said that, and this girl turned around. She goes, Saturday I'm actually going to be up at the school. And I was like, oh, what for? And she goes, oh, me and some friends are going to be picking up trash around the neighborhood. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, we decided, we saw a bunch of trash on the side of the road the other day and we're going to get together this weekend, pick it up. And I was like, wow, could you imagine you saying yourself, that to yourself a week or a year ago?
Yeah.
So
like, hey, what are you doing this Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to go pick up trash.
Pickup.
Well, I was going to go to the movies, but...
Well, and it's really cool too because, we try to show our kids what effect people are having on the environment and really impress upon them that they're the ones that can go out there and spread awareness. And really, if you can't do a litter pickup every weekend, that's totally reasonable, but you can tell other people. And I mean, when we go to the coast field trips, the coast field trips are Snapchat famous, apparently. I mean, the kids, it's a sea turtle, it's a dolphin, it's a this, it's a squid, and they're so pumped and their friends are pumped. And I mean, we have kids come in that are like, hey, you're that teacher. And I saw my friend do this on Snapchat. And we're like, yeah, join Aquatic Science next year. You'll love it. Our kids get so fired up though. And it's so great to see young people be passionate, because so many people like to dismiss this generation and say, oh, they don't care. They just care about their phones. They really don't. They don't give a darn about anything. And I mean, our kids are out there and they're going to principals, they're going to administrators, and they're saying, hey, we don't recycle enough here. Our soda machines, like they sell everything, or I guess they're like sport beverages because, that's better or something. But like they're all in plastic bottles, like why are we selling these things in plastic bottles? And then you're not giving us a way to recycle these plastic bottles, because that's important. And our administration, bless them, they're on board. I mean, they may think that we're a little nutty, but like they see that these kids are coming out of our classes with this passion for doing better. Yeah. Not necessarily not saving the world, but at least doing their part to make a chink in the destruction.
Yeah, just to be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. That in and of itself, just going from one side of the equation to the other, is a much needed breath of fresh air in times like today. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, having kind of spearheaded this program for the past 4 years and growing it into what it is today, it sounds like y'all have a bunch of great opportunities to take your students to these places. Do you have any advice for teachers who maybe don't have those opportunities on things they can do in their classroom or right around their school, kind of in their outside area?
There's a lot of small things that you can do. I mean, just making runoff is a big problem, and the quality of runoff is a big problem. Planting a garden in an area that gets a lot of runoff to act as a biofilter so that maybe it's cleaner before it gets to the storm drain. Or, not everything has to require leaving your campus. Recycling, that's a big thing that our kids have really latched onto this year. I feel like recycling is a whole lot more ubiquitous and accepted now. Like, oh, that's what we should do.
I completely agree with that you don't always have to get off campus to have a really engaging lesson. One of the things we do this podcast, of course, and it's a big part of what we do. But the other kind of half of Last Chance Endeavors is that we're working with schools and trying to make environmental science curriculums more engaging so that it's not taught from a book, but it's getting out. And we had these big grand plans of doing biodiversity surveys out at a wetland center, and we were doing those and they're awesome. But truthfully, the more impactful part of the program we were doing is when the kids went back to their own schools and were walking around out, there's the tarp out by the football field that's been out there for 4 years, and you flip it over and you're catching a ringneck snake and you're catching ground skinks and you're catching Fowler's toad, and it's all it's right where these kids are learning every day. And they get to walk outside and see, this is my environment. This is the science of my environment. And it's not this egghead ideal in a book. It's their world. And the fact that is what that's how you teach, like full stop, is incredible and really should be modeled by teachers everywhere.
And it's more fun that way. I mean, books are great and books have uses, but if you really want to catch the imagination and catch the passion of these kids, you have to be more exciting than a cell phone, and a book is not more exciting than a cell phone. But going out and it's not always aquatic related. I mean, we've got kids, we sometimes, we have kids that bring us tadpoles. I found these tadpoles in a flower pot in my yard. And so here they are, like, okay, guys, I guess we're raising tadpoles right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
tarantulas a couple of years ago.
A kid came in and she said, there's this really weird bird on the ground and I think it was hurt. And I said, was it brown? Yeah. I said, was it like flopping around? Yeah. I said, I think that was a killdeer. She said, oh, I have a picture and a video of it. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a killdeer. Like, that's what they do. That's an adaptation that they have. What? Like, I didn't, and it's nature. I mean, we don't discriminate. Yeah. We like nature, and kids are like, oh, well, you might not care about this. And I'm like, oh, I can guarantee you we do.
Yeah. Right. It's all connected. And especially, water is one of these cycles that connects everything to everything else on this planet. Water touches every part of this world. And so aquatic science really covers everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what we try and tell them is like our class is kind of like the environmental class light version of it. Like we focus more on aquatic science, but we hit everything, pollution on land, pollution on the water. It's the same. It's the same issue.
Because everything you do on land ultimately ends up impacting water sources. And we here in San Antonio, we live on the Edwards Aquifer. And so we get to have big talks about that. And like, guys, what you do, it seeps down into there, and so actions that you take above ground impact below ground, and that impacts the coast, and that impacts oceans, and that, that impacts people's livelihoods, and it's, we're really this one big interconnected thing. And the more people that we can get to care, the better off we'll be.
Or at least just be aware.
Yeah.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Is just saying, hey, what you're doing here on your lawn, that fertilizer that you're putting out there every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That ends up causing a massive die-off in the Gulf every year. Because there's this massive bloom.
Yeah.
Just drawing those connections for people who are not, science isn't their livelihood. It's not what they're looking at every day. But just putting it in front of them saying, hey, just so you know.
And just them learning that there are lots of ways. There's not just like one specific thing you have to do to make the world a better place. There's tons of things. Like, Thompson and I, we're teachers and we're making a difference in the world just by educating. You can do a community cleanup. You can go down and help, search for turtle nests down in...
Oh yeah, we met the turtle search people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You can go help search for turtles with dogs that smell turtle nests. Like, what? And we tell our kids this, and, we show them all this stuff. When we meet these people, we show them these things, and just getting them exposed. Because I feel like when, a lot of times people are like, oh, you teach aquatic science, so you have a bunch of marine biologists. And it's like, no, we have kids that want to build green cities, and we have kids that want to go out and be in the Coast Guard, and there's so many different options.
Even if they don't want to do any of that, we have kids that are going to pick up that trash as they walk through the parking lot to their car, because
Or at least
it's
wait
the right
until they
thing.
get home
Yeah.
to throw away a bottle or to recycle a bottle instead of throw it in the trash.
Yesterday, I actually, one of my kids came in and told me one of his jerk friends threw something out the window of his car as they were driving. And so he stopped the car and told his friend to get out and go pick it up.
Good
That's
on him.
great.
Yeah. And his friend was like, I'm not going to do it. And he was like, no, go do it. You know, like you can't just throw stuff out the car. Like that's bad. And so the friend was, complaining like, oh, well, you're going to leave me. And so this kid, he took the keys out of his own car and said, I'm not going to leave you. Take the keys, go get that stuff and throw it away when you get home. And I was like near tears, about to just like jump over my desk and hug him, because I was like,
Right.
that's this entire year is I wanted you to learn that, to care.
That one conversation means that you were successful.
Yes.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's
and so
fantastic.
out of all 180 kids, if I only reached that one to make that difference, I did my duty as a teacher this year. But hopefully I reached a little bit more than that
little bit more.
one student.
Just a touch.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, and we, at the end of the year, what we do, our very last writing thing, we have them do warm-ups every day. And our very last one is, you've been in this class for a year. What are you leaving with? And there are so many kids, because it's a lot of kids get put in that class to kind of be like, here, we think that these teachers can make you have at least a successful year because you've struggled all your other years of high school science. And so many kids that say, I came in here and I really wasn't expecting a whole lot and I really didn't care and I just sort of wanted to make it through the year. And you guys have made such a difference in the way I look at how I live my life. And there are some that are like, I know that I can't go out and make a huge difference, but I can recycle. I cannot throw my trash out the window. I can make sure that I'm putting trash in a responsible location.
Or, I have a reusable cup now.
Yeah.
So many kids come up to me and they're like, look at my new reusable cup. And I'm like, look at it. It's amazing. And, giving them high fives. And they're happy to do that little part,
Right.
And it's fantastic seeing, looking out at the classroom one day and seeing 20 different like reusable cups or sports bottles and stuff instead of, all of those little plastic bottles and stuff like that. And it's great seeing that like they do care. This isn't a generation of kids that are just looking at their phone all the time. Like these kids actually do care about the world around them. And it's pretty amazing.
So I'll say this right now. Anytime you have a student that comes up to you and says, hey, I got a reusable cup, let me know. I'll send you a sticker.
Oh, awesome. Yes.
That way they can put
Oh
on
my
the last
gosh,
chance to
they're
ever
going to
sticker.
be so thrilled.
We'll make that
Yes.
happen. Yeah, whatever that takes. We'll make that
Yes.
happen. Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for being on the show with us today. It was an awesome impromptu thing, and we love that you guys came over to see us.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you for having us.
us.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Conservation Connection.
If you enjoyed our podcast, go ahead and subscribe to make sure you catch every episode that we post.
We would love to hear from you. If you want to reach out to us, go to our website, lastchanceendeavors.com/contact, and shoot us an email.
If you're a teacher and you'd like to use this episode in your classroom, get in touch with us.
We'll provide you with state and national standard tie-ins and additional materials to help you guide a class discussion.
Thanks again for listening, and don't forget to tune in next week.